Representative One, let's talk a little bit about the agenda item today that was deleted. It was an agenda item that would require two signatures in addition to the original member of council that wanted to put an item on the agenda. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I thought from the beginning that that was a totally wrong motion to bring forth for a couple of reasons. Number one, that is a major change in operational policy, and that should come whenever we have a change in council, which we're going to have in just a few days. At that time, it would be most appropriate if someone wanted to bring it up.
So that I understand, so you're okay with it if it happens then?
Well,
This is more of a time?
I think that for someone to bring it on the agenda at this point in time was inappropriate.
I see.
It's inappropriate. I, for one, totally disagree with it. I think that I was elected by constituents in District 7, and I believe that forcing me to find two other people to sign off, in essence, builds walking quorums. In essence, it leads to backroom deals, people talking about an issue prior. So while the thought is, well, all you have to do is ask someone, will you support it? You know, if I'm going to support something, I want to know all the details. And that's where the conversation gets into a little bit deeper than just simply saying, will you support it? I would be very hesitant of saying, yes, I will support or sign off on an item if I don't know all the details. And so that leads to walking quorums, because if I say no, then the person will go to the next person, and so on and so forth. Some items that are put on the agenda may not be popular items, but they're important issues and they're important items. I can almost, or I would feel that perhaps issues like wage theft would not be on an agenda, that we would be having to really struggle with getting a resolution for Lift Up El Paso, which means raising the wage, the minimum wage that is paid to city employees. I think the municipal ID potentially would not be looked favorably. And I think there's several other issues that at that point in time, the lowest, at the basic level, people would not have a voice. And so I'm totally against it. Today, the agenda jumped around. First, it was on regular agenda for tomorrow as a discussion in action. It was changed, and then it came into the special meeting as discussion only. And so I think that we had really hammered that one, to death. We really need to move on. So the opportunity came up to delete it. Made the motion, got a second, and we deleted it. So there's no further discussion.
Okay, so that our viewers can understand correctly, that deletion effectively kills
Yes.
the motion for now?
That's it.
Okay, so the issue is dead for now unless
It
it's
is.
brought up again.
Right, it would need to come up again, and, we're in campaign season, so it's a touchy subject, and so, obviously, I just don't anticipate that it'll come up again. It could come up once we have the new council in place. I would still be very, very much against it. I think that it really prevents the people from having a voice. There was a talk about efficiency, and I'm not sure what efficiency means in the overall realm of things. And so, not in support of that.
Right. So a couple of your colleagues have made the point that, well, this wasn't really geared towards anyone in particular. This was, in a way, our way of trying to prevent certain members of council from putting on items continually on the agenda over and over if there's no change in the status or whatever. And I guess what they're trying to say is it prevents people from using the agenda to further their political agenda, for lack of a better word. Your thoughts on that?
No, I think that I can not think of an occasion of placing an item on agenda that didn't go through and then bringing it back up repeatedly as may be stated. I take a risk. I'll put an item on the agenda. And, this is an interesting story because obviously in the beginning, what I did is certainly I had an item that I wanted to place on the agenda. And I went and asked, will you second, will you support, will you understand do you have questions? Which is a very common thing that happens.
Sure.
And so one of my colleagues said, yes, but only if you fine tune the language in it. So I agreed. So I went to another person and I said, look, I've got this, or do you have any questions? Oh, no, everything's good, everything's good. When the item came up in city council, a third colleague made the motion to delete. And my first colleague who had said, will you just do a little bit of edits, seconded that motion. So I thought, oh my goodness, what happened here? So then it went to the vote. And the third person, really the second one that I had spoken to, also voted against it. Well, to me, I hold very, very highly the word of palabra. That if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to honor that. And so that taught me a very valuable lesson. So I can go and ask someone, will you support this? Will you not support it? And I figured I'm not going to get burned again. Shame on me. So if I place an item on the agenda, it doesn't get the second, so be it. If I place an item on the agenda and you have a walking quorum or a coalition that is going to vote on it, so be it. But you know what? I had the choice, and I had the option, and I had the opportunity to bring forth that particular issue. Issues are coming from the constituents. Issues are coming as they're looking out and facing. You may recall a year ago with the establishment of the luxury box at the stadium. We had a very finite policy, but yet that policy was overlooked. I mean, when you've got a need to prepare your list of people who are coming, and you do that, and then if you fail to do it, well, then you're circumventing the whole system. The use of city credit cards to pay for food or drinks for friends or family, that's wrong. So there's a saying in Spanish, la verdad no peca, pero incomoda. So the truth sometimes is a thorn, but yet we need to stay focused. It is a truth.